Talk.
I'm Zara, and how am I supposed to breathe knowing that GOT7 has a comeback?
I'm Sophia and I am sweating because TXT is bringing the heat with Thursday's Child.
We are NoonaTalk, which is a podcast about K dramas, K pop, basically everything you need to be to know about being a K stan.
Yeah, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and you can listen to our podcast on Spotify Podcast, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and watch us on YouTube.
And especially follow us on Instagram because I think we do a lot of giveaways, and that's like a perk. K is all about what I think is one of the biggest scandals in K pop. But before we
Definitely.
can get into that, Whassa Poppin?
What's poppin', guys?
Jimin's OST is finally out. I feel like we have been talking about this every podcast. Like, it's like, where's Jimin's OST? Where's Jimin's OST? And it's finally out, and it's with his padding squad bestie, Ha Sung Moon.
I was zapped that it was in English. I feel like that is something I didn't see coming at all.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was so beautiful.
It, oh my god, his voice is
Both
like,
of them actually, they were such complimentary
yeah,
voices.
definitely. But like, no
Like
offense to
what
Ha
her
Sung Moon, I'm a huge
debut.
fan of his work generally, but I feel like Jimin just took the stage in this one.
And like what a way to debut into the OST sort of zone. And it's already like number one on iTunes in over 100 countries, which is
No, it
insane.
broke the record for fastest 100
Fastest.
number ones. It broke Dynamite's record. Like, I don't know if the fandom's huge now, if Bangtan are bigger now. I don't know what's going on.
I think
But
it's a
that was
mix of
insane.
like a lot of things of like Bangtan being bigger, the fandom
Hmm.
being bigger. It also, I think, is super compounded by the fact that it is a K drama OST and not just a solo.
That is true. And it also, with the fact that we are so hungry for releases right now, like, we're just like, just give us
Kuch
kuch
bhi
bhi
de
de do.
do.
Like, we need music.
That's very true.
It's very
Needing
thirst
music,
season.
needing music leads me to so much music still coming through our way.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it just doesn't seem to stop. And honestly, here for that.
Mhm.
Who you've written? Wait. So Psy, you've written Psy. What's happening with Psy's album?
So we have more information about Si's full album. We still don't know who the title track is with, and that's very sus. But we have a track produced by Zico on it. We have a collaboration with Whassa with composition by Whassa on it. We have a track with Jesse on it. I mean, Si's just like going all out there.
Super here for all of those artists as well. I think we talked about last time that the title track is being produced by Tableau.
Now that apparently there are two titles and one of them is produced by Tableau, and there's also a collaboration with Tableau on another song. This album's gonna be
This album, the
huge.
way this album is just like, you know how like Ed Sheeran went around and like collabed with
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. I mean, let's be honest, Psy is the Ed Sheeran of Korea. Icon
What's
is also having their comeback. Yeah, I think it's been years since Icon have had a comeback. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I even heard of them. I mean, Bobby did have, and a lot of them did solo work last year.
Hmm.
They did have a comeback last year, but I think it's been a while. So kind of excited for that. Luckily.
Twice new Japanese album announced.
Exactly. I mean, Twice is just a powerhouse where every 2 months they're like new music. And speaking of Japanese releases, and Hypen is also releasing their second Japanese single. That's insane.
Yeah, and there's also an Astro, but not Japanese, right? Korean album that's coming out. Just today, I think I asked on our Instagram which comebacks people were excited for, and there was a lot of noise for Astro. But
But more than music, there is so much live performances going on, starting with Espa at Coachella. That was so
with
next level.
but they also had a new song that they
Yeah, they
performed,
released a new song. Yeah, it was
which was really
crazy.
cool.
And before the performance, there was a lot of talk about, oh, will they perform live? Will they just completely lip sync? Because I mean, fans have been asking SM to let Espa sing live for since their debut, and it hasn't happened as much yet. But people were really excited because it did happen at Coachella, and what a better place to debut your live voices than Coachella.
Honestly. And like I think a
Hmm.
lot of them did hair changes as well, but like I think Winter's hair change, like her being dark hair, like the
Yeah.
impact. And it was such a drastic change. Like I'm being like, who is that? I saw the dispatch photos. I was like, which one is
Yeah.
this? They're a new member. But
Yeah,
yeah, very
that's true.
interesting. Live
Hmm.
performances. NCT Dream did like surprise live performance of "It's Yours" from Glitch Mode.
Oh,
What else is
that's
happening?
really awesome. Also, so 80s have been having their North America tour currently, and they in like somewhere during that time they started releasing these QR codes in Hongdae in Seoul as well as in Barcelona. When people would
Yes,
scan it,
you
it
think
started.
of these locations together. You think, yeah, of course, Hongdae, Seoul, and Barcelona.
And it's when you scan it, it leads to their comeback announcement. And apparently, this is what people are, yeah, this is what fans are theorizing, where it might be, what is that Spanish Netflix show that became really popular?
Money Heist.
Yeah, people are assuming it's Money Heist related. I haven't dived into the fan theories yet, but that's a cool theme.
That'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
I would be very excited to see their choreo because honestly, I don't even pay attention to 80s music. I just watch them perform.
Yeah, they're like fire on stage. And speaking of
Absolutely.
tour, Stray Kids also announced their North America tour, and the ticketing was apparently pure a nightmare.
Oh,
Where,
really?
yeah, Ticketmaster apparently has this thing called platinum seating, which is it's like Uber search where the pricing rises while the tickets are being bought
Oh, dynamic
instead of,
pricing.
yeah, it's dynamic pricing, but dynamic pricing also happens not at the first sale, like with how BTS tickets, while you're buying it the first go, the ticket cost remains the same and the tickets get bought out. Then during reselling, people increase the prices. But during the Stray Kids pricing, it was happening simultaneously, and floor seats were at like $3,000 and whatnot, and so many fans just couldn't get to the tickets, which was really
Oh.
upsetting. Yeah.
No, so I
So,
saw like a little talk about this. There's this
mhm,
one influencer who I follow,
mhm.
who's a originally Vietnamese dancer, and he really wanted to go to the Stray Kids concert because he's like a big
Yeah,
fan. And he
yeah.
wrote like, "Oh, I missed out, but I'm gonna try for day 2 or something like that." And
Mhm.
then a lot of people did respond to him being like, "Oh yeah, same, 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 same." So I was just like, "Oh, I wonder what went down."
Yeah,
That
that
sounds really
happened.
awful though.
Yeah, it's really awful, especially I think now the American market has realized there's a huge demand for K-pop
Concerts.
tickets. Concerts just sell out immediately, so they're just scalping the tickets. It's not even going to fans, and because of the dynamic pricing, and JYP didn't even have any fan pre-sale, which a lot of fans were upset about because they're like, what is the point of us getting membership if you're not even going to give us a special pre-sale? Like,
Oh,
what is the point of
that's
anything?
so sad.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it is very
that's so
upsetting.
sad. To like
But
turn that around, there is a 2022 Dream concert has been announced, which
oh,
is
what's that?
sort of like Korean Coachella. It's like South Korean
Ooh,
Coachella. And of course, for the
okay.
last 2 years, it's not happened because of pandemic. And like this time, it did get announced. It's happening in July or the end of June. It's
Have
really
they announced the
exciting.
lineup yet?
They've not announced the lineup yet, but it's quite exciting because they do usually get like big names to come on and perform,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a
Mm.
really big fest. To put it in Indian terms, what would it, sundown,
Burn.
sundowner,
Or
sunburn, yes,
Sunburn or Weekender?
weekender, yes, it's very,
Hmm.
it's like their weekender.
Well, I mean, quarantine rules are out, so we can probably just head to Korea. Abhi ticket book karo.
Yeah, and also SM Town did their that like SM Town concert during Christmas and New Year's. Like they had
Yeah,
that
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing, and now it's being done in person in Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Man,
so they announced it. Very excited.
yeah, I mean, honestly, if I, as a K-pop fan, I think even better than being Korean is being a Japanese fan because you get more perks than even Korean fans do. You get more concerts, you get specialized merch, you get your own special songs. Like, oh my god, the way I want to be a Japanese fan.
Not to mention all the like BT 21 Japan merch.
Everybody gets special merch.
It's insane.
It
But now
is.
that we've come on to SM, unfortunately, Dio from EXO has tested positive for COVID. Um,
Oh.
Hopefully, like I think I'm hoping it's the minor strain. Like there is no not we don't know what the strain it is so far, but
Hmm.
hopefully it's nothing major.
Okay.
I think it's time for us to get into it. Yeah.
Get into it, yeah.
K-pop scandals, lots and lots of them that we have. We
Yeah.
will be having a guest join us, who can go into a little more depth about it and about her personal experience of being a K-pop fan while a scandal was going on and how that affected her fan
Hmm.
experience. We're specifically talking about Burning Sun today.
But what do you think even is a scandal in K-pop? Because honestly, when I became a K-pop fan, I was like, "ये scandal नहीं है." But apparently, so
Yeah,
many
some of them
things
are
are
definitely
scandalous.
some of them are definitely non-issues, or maybe not
Hmm.
as a bigger deal, but that could be honestly like a cultural difference where like we
Definitely
don't think of some things as that big a deal. Like I know
true.
like maybe in the last year, bullying has become a major deal. So much so
It
that even in
really
business
is.
proposal, they referred to that like as an inside joke, like don't bully people. What if you become an idol when you
A
grow up?
K-pop idol. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
like
I
for
think there was.
culturally for Indians, bullying just such a part of our lives.
Yeah, no, but it is such a huge part of the Korean culture. It's such an issue in Korean culture more so. And I think because they have been trying to fight it is why it recently became a issue that was being called out to a point where like G Idol had Soojin leave, Hyunjin from Stray Kids took
Stray
a
Kids,
break. There
yeah.
was the whole AOA and Meena. I don't even know if that's a bullying scandal or what. Like that was just triggering overall. But there's just like so many things. But I remember when I became a fan, one of the first scandals that I ever saw was the Kai and Jenny scandal, which was a dispatch photo of them just sitting in a car. And I was like, that's not a scandal. That's just two people sitting in a car.
Or even how when Chen announced that he was getting married and had his fiance at the time was pregnant, and that was the way I think K fans dealt with it. It was such a scandal.
Hmm.
Whereas
It really was.
I don't think we reacted to it the same way. We were just like, okay, good for him, yeah. Because
Like,
it
was it
wasn't
even K fans or was it just like the K gossip
in
sites?
media.
Because I remember, yeah, like side media, but we just get that part of it. But there have been some
Perhaps.
very major scandals as well. Of course, the Burning Sun is a big one. I think Big Bang themselves have had a lot of like, I won't even say scandals, like some of them have been like hit and run cases, there have been prostitution cases. YG themselves have just been involved in so many, like YG
Super
himself.
Junior's Kangin, within like a span of a year, had multiple DUIs.
DUI is another like big thing. I think in India we really don't care about these things. But there's this
Salman Khan.
rapper called Noel who has
Hmm.
had like multiple DUIs. He's fought with the police, and his father was a member of the parliament. And this shit happens so much that his father like stepped down from his position due to
My
shame.
word.
I was like,
No, and there's a lot of like, of course, sexual assault that has also been
hmm,
an issue. I mean, we are still Asians. Respect for women is not a
of
concept that we
course,
really like espouse. I think
definitely.
I think Korea still has like much better than India, but that's like setting the bar really low. Um,
True. Revenge porn is a huge issue. Like Ailey, the singer, her ex-boyfriend released nudes of hers on all K-pop, which published it, which was super trash. Even Guhara was a victim to like it's these crimes are they're sexist and misogynist and that's why they exist a lot of it. Like we call them scandals, but they're really just they're crimes,
crimes
like
against women.
straight out. So we are joined by Supraja, who is an ex K-pop fan thinking of getting back to K-pop again, and so she's a huge Big Bang fan. Was a huge Big Bang fan. Am I right?
How did you become a K-pop
Yeah.
fan? Let's start there.
is the weirdest thing ever. And like, I don't know if there are any people who are listening who might know of, issues between Korea and Japan, but started with Japan and idol culture, and like just AKB48 was a big thing in 2011.
Hmm.
And I was just like, okay, this is cool. Never listened to people from this part of the world making music like this. There's this whole scene happening. And then I think somebody did a collab with Yunha, who would do a lot of Japanese music, but is Korean,
Hmm.
obviously. And then I stumbled across this guy on YouTube. I don't know if he's still making mixes, but he's called DJ Muramasa. He had a 2011 like banger or a mix of like G Dragon. Everybody was big at that time, and I was just like, there's a world here that I do not know what's happening. Must know. So it all started through, yeah.
Yeah,
And
2011 was this banger K-pop era. I think everything was like, "Kang, kang, 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 kang."
I feel like it wasn't just
Shiny.
K-pop. I think all music was that at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Tayo Cruz.
But
Yeah.
so today we're specifically talking about Burning Sun. For the
Mm.
our unversed audience, could you give us a gist of what
Oh
Burning
me,
Sun was?
Jesus. Okay. So 2019, I think 2018 towards the ending, there were allegations around this club that Sungri was the main shareholder of in, I think, the Meridian or some jazz, a huge hotel in Gangnam. And in 2019 January is when this complaint of harassment or whatever ends up getting a certain escalation through, I think, the government's website, because
Oh,
most people didn't,
yeah.
the police basically didn't want to touch on these allegations, because they were like, oh no, you've got like major A-list celebrities who go there, and plus they were part of the whole brigade of like the bribe that was a part of it as well. So once that reached a certain kind of public mandate, I think the president had to, kind of like agree that, okay, now because this is a big deal, you all have to really investigate what's been happening. And I think, yeah, so out of the viper's nest, you get major major stars who just turn up. And one apart from Sangri, there is also, I think, who was that, Jun Hyung, who was, I think, like
Wait,
I really
wasn't
loved
that
his
the
voice.
Confused.
yeah?
Come again?
No, but he had the golden phone scandal, right?
Yeah. So he'd already been accused before as
So
well.
apparently, wow, good to know retrospectives. Wow,
Yeah.
that too.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
the funny part of how the Burning Sun came out was it was unrelated, where some random guy had a bar fight and he said, "Oh,
Hmm.
tried to make a big deal because he got thrown out," and that's how the
Hmm.
police came in, and
Badla.
that's how the investigation started. Yeah, that was so
Yeah, so it
random.
was not actually even through, an assault or anything, but like
Hmm.
another weird angle through into this, right?
Hmm.
So for me, I
How did
think,
that impact your fan experience?
I mean,
Especially given that you were a Big Bang stan.
yeah, I was a VIP. But I mean, I honestly feel like there's been such bitter disappointment and disillusionment. But I also know, at least at this point, I would not really position myself as, like it being a binary that, they let me down or such. I see that as a consequence of the culture that's present around idol culture, that the whole norms around like who they're supposed to see, intimacy, like that you're supposed to uphold a certain standard, which is why also the Japanese thing, right? That's how I even made my way into it. But yeah, it completely changed the way that I viewed uh, Big Bang in particular, because I mean, they, for me, because YG's logics at the time that I actually became like a simp or whatever, YG's logic worked very differently from the blueprint of SM or JYJ, where it was like very mainstream Super Junior, EXO. So kind of EXO was following Super Junior steps, but Big Bang
Hmm.
really didn't have that kind of predecessor, even though, yeah, like young Hansak was there, but like so each of them could be their own person, their own, like they had their own music, their own style, and but they also came together as a collective, especially the Made album. Like that was like, I think, their pinnacle. And then this happened, and I was just like, yeah, things just changed around that point for me as well.
Hmm.
But I
The
think it also
idol,
makes sense, because I think Me Too was also a thing, right? Overall, like in 2018. So I think there was
Yeah.
already an awakening personally speaking, like, working with my own feminist politics or where I position myself. And this was like the last remnant of my youth that was just like stripped away. Last
I think we
illusions.
lost a lot
Yeah.
of things during Me Too. The idol
But yes,
culture
it is.
thing is really interesting. What you said, could you tell us more about what you may like have realized or maybe researched on in what K idol culture sort of entails?
Well, so they pick up on the Japanese model that was present through the 90s and the 2000s. But I think why the K model has been successful and has
Please,
also made a
Suman.
lot of money, yeah, a lot of money, is because they don't necessarily have the same copyright infringement laws around their music. And this is work, again, that I've read of certain scholars who've written about this. But I think the K model completely changes the way that one even thinks of aesthetics as well, because there's such a huge pronouncement over, say, for instance, hip hop or whatever, like pops in from Western American music or pop culture, basically. But people have managed to make it their own. So,
Hmm.
but of course, like maintaining a certain, again, there's another ring, right? That's happening. Like they're American, they're the West, we're the East. So we're going to make sure that our people still hold on to certain values and certain morals. We won't let sleaze turn up. Or, I mean, Gangnam Style is banned on Korean TV because it's because Psy is seen as, like, wrecking soul, like public property. So, I mean, you've got like
Hmm.
such norms present, such stringent norms present. So the idea of sex or intimacy, forget even homosexuality. I mean, where do these things pop up? And when this had happened, um, I think also because by that point, like there was such a meteoric rise of Big Bang again, like reclaiming space in the Far East. I mean, sure, they were a big thing, but EXO happened and everybody else in between. That this kind of seemed to be like a shift again, a generational shift in the industry altogether. I think BTS was already doing something different, but this just, I think, accelerated the pace of certain other groups to like gain prominence or people breaking away. I mean, G Dragon
Hmm.
no longer holds the same kind of royalty weight, didn't hold the same royalty weight that he did right after this too. So it just impacted everything. Yeah.
Speaking of like how you're talking about culture and borrowing from the West, it's very interesting where like not we, but like in K-pop, women are still like sexualized, but only in a certain way, which borrows heavily from the Japanese model, where like the
Mm.
cute sexy is for men, whereas the Western sexy is called girl crush as a concept, and I find that really interesting. Like something like Blackpink is or a Mamamoo has more female fans as opposed to Twice, which is more cutesy and they
Mm.
have a lot more male fans. And it's just a weird, like a marketing thing, and that it really brings into question how like women are even treated in the industry, right? Like how are
Right.
they viewed? And
Right.
you're conservative, but you're still misogynistic.
Mm.
I mean,
See,
conservative and misogyny goes hand in
Yeah,
hand.
I guess. I guess.
No, but
so
speaking
like,
of this
yeah.
gay culture that, like you've said, do you think there are parallels? I mean, of course, because we're all Asian, so there is similarities. But do you think there's parallels with, say, how Bollywood treats its celebrities?
How
Not just
Bollywood.
Bollywood, okay? Like I'll open it up to all,
Like
like say, like Tollywood as well,
Tollywood, yeah. Like we worship Rajnikant, how G Dragon was worshipped.
or like how women
Huh.
are treated similarly, right? Where accessories would you say that
Hmm.
there's similarities in how we present our celebrities to the world?
Oh, yeah.
Even
That level.
like how a dating scandal in Bollywood, I think 15 years ago or 20 years ago, would be an actual
It
scandal,
would be.
whereas I
Yeah.
think now we don't really care.
Yeah, like how we
Slightly.
went from like oh, Salman and Aishwarya are dating to like, oh, is it even happening, to now like Ranbir and Alia like kissing on the front page of newspapers?
Mm,
Hmm.
mm. Exactly. Exactly.
So are you
So,
saying, are you implying that we are advancing as a society in India?
I think certain sections, maybe the privileged, the rich,
the rich,
maybe.
yes, the rich can get away with whatever they like. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
For sure. But I think the expectation from a star, at least in terms of the ethics of your intimacy or your partnership or your coupledom, That is like we're definitely, but we're a little marginally further ahead than say Korea.
Yeah, like we were talking how like school bullying is not a real like thing that you would ever hate. Like nobody would get hate in India for being a bully in school, let
Yeah,
alone like
yeah. In
lose
fact,
their
it would be like
careers.
you'd be like champion, champion.
Yeah, like sher hai apna.
That's true. Like, did we not watch Jo Jeeta Wo Sikandar? There is active bullying in that. But where does this or events such as this, and now that you've had maybe time to process and move on, where does that take you on your K-pop journey?
I think now they're not idols anymore to me. They're humans. They're humans on a very basic level. Um, and I mean, now I've moved away from the pop scene and I've moved closer, I think, to say something like Running Man, which I was a little obsessed with until again Kwang Soo left a year ago, was it? Yeah. But I don't know if I'd hyperfixate again. Maybe not.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a different hyperfixation altogether now. Okay, bye. Thank you for having me. See you later.
Bye. It's time for this or that. Are you ready?
I think I am. I don't know what the theme is though. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, exactly. So today's theme is a little different, but it's our favorite theme. It's KFood.
Okay, excited. Yes. I had a lot of K-food this weekend, so I'm ready.
Yeah, we know. Korean fried chicken original flavor or Yangnam?
Yangnam.
Milkis or banana uyu?
Oh, Milkis. 100%.
Soju or magoli?
If it's regular, just like original soju, then Magoli.
Kimchi jjigae or kimchi fried rice?
Kimchi fried rice.
Bibimbap or kimbap?
Bibimbap. It comes with an egg.
Samgyeopsal? I mean, so does kimbap.
But like it comes with the egg on the top and I get to cut into it.
Samgyeopsal or takkalbi?
Samgyeopsal.
Tteokbokki or ramyeon?
How could you do this to me?
Revenge.
Tok ramen? I want tok ramen.
Hotak or bingsu?
Bingsu.
And finally, gamjajeon or pajeon or kimchijeon?
Pajon.
Cool.
Though to be fair, to be very honest, like I like all
Yeah.
three. I do love all Johns. All the Johns,
Mm.
even Jungkook.
Including Jungkook.
Watch our last week's episode to find out just how much. Not bad. That was. I feel like I have very firm opinions on K food as opposed to
K-food, yeah. And if you are listening and you want to know more about our K-food adventures, head to our Instagram because we have a whole
story highlight.
different K-food that we have checked out and that you can
And
try.
you can try as well. Yes. K-food. Speaking of culture and speaking of how drinking culture is such a strong thing in Korea, that we've talked about DUIs that K-pop idols have, had.
Mhm.
It's such an inbred culture of drinking that they rank, according to the WHO, 17th in the world in terms of alcohol consumption. So
South Korea?
So an individual South Korean on a rough average will drink to over 12 liters of alcohol a year.
Is
On
that
an
more than
average.
Russia or less than Russia?
Shockingly, more than Ireland, Germany,
Okay.
US, Canada, and Australia, which is very surprising.
Yeah,
Like, it's
that
such a
is
small
surprising.
country, you don't expect them to outrank these countries, like, especially Canada and Australia, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
No.
no. But yes, drinking culture is a very big part, and it's embedded into like every aspect. And it's not just a social thing; it's also a professional thing. So having
Mhm.
going out for drinks with colleagues is a big part of your
Yeah.
work life.
Yeah. I think anyone who's seen a K-drama has seen that.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I don't think I would survive in South Korea.
Speaking of K-dramas, I'm watching a K-drama. Are you watching any K-dramas?
I am currently not. I feel like I keep trying to start watching something, but I am too busy reading fan fiction.
One of the same things. So I watched a new episode of Our Blues, which was so interesting. I feel like as a subject, this has not been tackled this well in a minute. Where one of the episode was about two teenagers who, out of which one of them got pregnant because they were dating and they hooked up. And it was about teen pregnancy, which made me realize, did you know this? That abortion was banned in South Korea until 2019,
Yeah.
except for extraordinary circumstances and medical recommendations. Yeah, so this was during the time where the bill was still in the works. So it was a legal gray area. And this is when the show is set, where she keeps going to the doctors and they're like, oh, it's not legal. And she's like, no, the law allows it. And they're like, no, we're still not sure about it. That was very interesting, but it just dealt with the concept of teen pregnancy in a very,
I
not
feel like
like,
we haven't seen much of like teen pregnancy
since Juno.
related things. Juno, my teenage pregnancy was a show, or like
Hmm. Teen
um
moms.
Teen Moms.
Yeah.
I feel, or like, Kya Kehna.
That was a minute ago. But yeah, this was a very, very nice episode. I would recommend people to just watch it, even if you don't watch Our Blues. Just watch the fifth episode
And like
because.
the gray area thing sounds really interesting, because when, like, I mean,
Hmm.
there's so many like loopholes that you have to go. Just because a bill gets passed into a law doesn't mean it starts going into effect immediately, right? There's so many caveats that have to
Hmm.
be worked out. So that's really
Yeah.
interesting to think about.
I also found a really interesting podcast about K dramas.
Can't believe you're out here supporting the competition.
So it's solely about K dramas, and they do individual episodes and just grouped episodes of different K dramas. It's called Pocha Playlist, which I love. It's by Korean Americans. So Pocha is
Oh.
basically, it's a drinking shack kind of a thing, where it's just like a temporary. You must have seen these in K dramas, where it's just like these temp roofs, and they're just drinking soju, and there's some small snacks to go with it. So that's called a Pocha. And yeah,
That sounds really
that's,
interesting.
yeah.
Recently, I was having a discussion with somebody. I think both of us were in the very same similar situation of not knowing what to watch. So I think we just
Mhm.
sat together and like Googled things and recommended things to each other. And I think Law School, which is on Netflix, was something that emerged as a potential watch for both of us. I think it had a very
Cool.
strong trailer where it was about kids in law school. And I think coming off of rookie course, I'm still in that phase where I'm down to watch people do intense studying, I guess. I
Yeah.
didn't study, so I want to watch other people study.
Yeah, like if any of you guys have watched Law School, let us know if it's worth checking out.
I think that brings us to almost the end. uh, I have an award this week. Do you have an award?
No, who do you have an award for?
I have an award for Chen, who has, as of today, which is April 25th, finished his military service.
Ooh,
Chen's coming home, y'all. Super exciting.
congratulations.
He finally gets to be a dad to his two children, which is insane when I say it out loud. Very
Yeah,
excited to have him back. I think I hope he
I
tries like
agree.
acting again.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. But will you have the time for that?
Oh, maybe he's going to be a part of SM Town.
Oh, yeah. Wait, do we even know who's a part of SM Down yet? Or no?
Not yet. Not yet. Like the promotional poster was released like today or yesterday.
Okay.
So I think we'll find out. But like more or less, I'm assuming it's going to be the same people who were there at
Yeah.
like the last concert, which did have
Mm-hmm.
Kai in it,
Mm-hmm.
and Dio and Schumann. So I'm assuming Chen would join. So here for that.
Missing some important people, but that's okay. We'll live,
I
I
don't think there's
guess.
a chance to miss, because there's literally like there was a new Baekhyun vlog like 3 days ago. How? Where is this like when did he have time to film all this content? Like man's been gone a year, and like the
Wait,
way
didn't weren't there also some tenure military photo cards or something?
yeah,
I
no, so
saw that in the
he's doing
grapevine.
the musical for the military.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
okay.
a part of that.
That reminds me,
But
Solar is doing a Mata Hari musical. Did you know that?
oh, is that why she was dressed like that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like in the concert. What was the song? She's off. Dilbar Dilbar. She's on her way to
Oh,
perform Dilbar Dilbar. Is Mata Hari big in Korea?
no, I think they just found a script and they're running with it. We all love some espionage.
I guess, but it's like if it's as if Bollywood decided to do a Julian Assange movie.
That would pop. We all love some espionage.
I am very confused. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the motive behind this feels very sus to me. But I'm here for like Solar as an actor. I'm here for
Yeah.
Solar. Oh my god! But
Mm.
also like because of like Mamamoo, you've reminded me. Whassa posted like some photos, and I think it's her niece.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
photos
yeah.
are so cute.
Really cute.
Oh no. It was really cute. And they're like a little like indoor mini trampoline. And like honestly,
Mhm.
that is why you get rich. So that you can have an indoor trampoline.
We hope you enjoyed the podcast today. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what your experiences of K-pop scandals have left you as. Tell us in the comments, comment to our DMs on Instagram. I am Sophia.
And I will be Zara next week as well. We were
NoonaTalk.